Hey, this is Matthew Ricks, and today on the Music Business Newsletter, it only took 5 days, but we got our first email from an artist who wants me to promote CDs and vinyl over streaming for you, the artist. So we'll get into that email in a second. Make sure if you like this video to like it, subscribe, leave a comment if you agree. If you don't agree, leave a comment. If you have a question on the music industry that you want me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com and click submit your question. Give me as many details as possible, and I will answer it here or in the audio version. Now, to send an email, you don't have to become a member. You don't even have to subscribe or buy a book or join a Patreon. Just go to MatthewRicks.com and click submit your question. It's that easy. So before we dive into this email today, I feel like it's important to say back in 2014, we were doing events all around the world. And in 2014, Apple Music was called Beats Music at that moment in time. Napster was still kind of doing streaming services. Xbox had a streaming service. PlayStation had a music streaming service. And artists then were mad that I told artists to go on Spotify, go on Beats Music at the time, and I should be promoting CDs. It's good to see 12 years later, we're still at the same place. But let's dive into today's email. He says, Matthew, I discovered your music newsletter emails the other day, and I started deep diving into Matrix Minutes on a streaming service. Won't tell me which one. Probably Spotify. You can listen to the Matrix Minutes on Spotify as well. He says, I like some of what you say, but I have to be honest. I'm starting to question how much you really help independent artists. You always talk about streaming services, algorithms, release strategies, and building a fan base online. But if you truly cared about artists, you'd be encouraging them to stop giving their music away for free on streaming platforms that pay fractions of a cent per play. The email continues. The reality is that Spotify, Apple Music, and all of these music platforms profit off the back of small artists. Well, that's not true. They profit off the back of people who register for accounts who never play music. If you're getting 100 plays a year, 100 plays a year, if you're getting 100 plays a month, how are they profiting off of the backs of you? That's just kind of a really short-sighted approach to this whole thing. I have always viewed streaming services as a great marketing tool. Back in the day when you could buy an album at Best Buy or Tower Records for $17-20, artists were making like $2 per CD. $2. Because the record label, if it was a $20 CD, record labels are usually typically selling it in for $8 to $10. The distribution company gets their cut. Record label is going to get their cut. You have to pay it back. And you're recouping at about maybe $3 for a good release. $2 to $3 per release is what you're recouping. If you were an A-list artist and you renegotiate your contract, you could probably get it up to $4, maybe $4.50. So it wasn't like if you sold a CD at Tower Records for $20, you made $20 of it. The people who made the most money off of those CDs was the retailers, because they had to buy it in. And then, the way that the industry worked back then is you'd have a restocking fee. So if you had a CD and, let's say FYE in Wichita, Kansas bought 15 copies for one store and 14 of them didn't sell after 90 days, they shipped those back. They would charge the distributor to ship them back. The distributor would charge the label a restocking fee. And guess who had to pay that restocking fee? The artist. So I've never been like, look, you can buy a Bugatti off of Spotify plays. But what I have always said for 11 years now is that people are more likely to check into your music and figure out what you're about if it doesn't cost them anything. But let's continue with the email, shall we? These platforms profit off the backs of small artists who never make enough money to survive. If I really wanted to empower artists, I'd be telling them to press CDs, sell vinyl, and use platforms like Bandcamp, places where people actually pay for music. Well, I believe, if I'm correct, that if you release something on Spotify or you release it on Apple Music, it's most likely available on the iTunes store. And it's most likely available on the Amazon Music Store, where they can buy it as an MP3. So if your fans love your music so much, why are they, if they're on Apple Music, why are they bypassing the iTunes Store and going just to Apple Music to listen to you? Why aren't they dropping $1.29 for your single? Because they wouldn't listen to it if they had to. You know how many artists I come across on Instagram, or artists who send me messages on Instagram, and they seem like a cool person, or I like their vibe or whatever. I'll go to Spotify and listen to it. But if I had to go to Apple Music or iTunes Music, iTunes Store, and spend $1.29 to check it out to decide if I like it or not, it ain't going to happen. It's you as an artist won't even do that. And you want me to come on here and encourage artists to press CDs. Last year, in my house with my two kids, we don't even have a DVD player. Everything is streaming here. We got the streaming services, we got Spotify, we even have Alexa, so we don't, so we can be so new age, we don't even have to walk to the other room and talk to each other. Last year for Christmas, my daughter got a CD player. I didn't think I'm like, okay, like this is kind of a weird thing, but all right. And instantly she loved it because it was new and it was unique and it was different for her. And had she not had a dad who's in the industry or other family members who are in the industry, all those CDs she gets, she would have had to pay for. And she isn't going to do it. So the CDs to her is a novelty because she doesn't pay for it. Because when you're in the industry, you'll get on servicing list, so you'll get just new releases sent to you in the mail, or you just, hey, my daughter really likes this artist. Can I get the new CD? But I will tell you with that story, you go, aha, see, I'll tell you the story though. As the dad, man, I got CD cases all over the house. We're getting ready to make a move to a new house. There's a box of CD cases there, And she's traveling right now. She's got to carry her headphones. She's got her CD player. She's got the CD case. Who's going to do that? Not to mention, you want me to go out there and tell these artists, okay, listen, you just made a bunch of music. Now I want you to go and press 1,000 CDs, which is probably going to be a couple of $1,000. And then go hound 1,000 of your closest friends to buy your CD that they might not even have a place to play it. If it wasn't for my daughter's CD, we wouldn't have a CD player. Like, we would have nowhere to play CDs in my house, in my car. My computer doesn't have a CD drive. So why would I encourage artists to do something that I don't think is beneficial to them? As for selling vinyl, do you realize how expensive making vinyl is? What the process is? Yeah, I see those ads on Instagram where like, no minimums for our vinyl, but it's going to be like $75, $80. And it's not a quick turnaround. So if you want to release an album, if today is Monday and you want to get your album out by the following week, you're not doing that with vinyl. You ain't doing it with CDs, but you're definitely not doing it with vinyl. So why would I encourage an artist to do that? Why would I encourage an artist to go to a merch table at their club show they're doing, or their county fair show they're doing, or their coffee house show, and sell $30 vinyls? Because one, there's not a huge markup on those either. You want to talk about pennies on the dollar? That's vinyl. And then to send them to Bandcamp. Once again, if they want to buy your music, why don't they just go and buy it at iTunes? Why are we sending them to Bandcamp? Oh, because you keep 100%? You got to really really love an artist or really be intrigued by an artist to make extra steps to do them a favor, to listen to their music. Years ago, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the big thing for artists, it was a rapper's thing. It was really a rapper's thing, is their bios wouldn't give you any information, but it would say, Google me. And I said this in a Matrix Minute in like 2016, like Google yourself. You want me, who I know nothing about you, to go and like Google you and start doing like Oppo research on you. Like, no. And now this guy here, and I see bands always trying to promote their Bandcamp. You know, and there might be like, you know, if you got 10,000 fans, you might get 3 who are going to go to your Bandcamp. I want this to be as effortless as possible for people to be able to fall in love with your music and become a fan. Buy merchandise. Come to your show. But now you're going, hey, look, I know I might have came up in the algorithm on Instagram, or you might have saw a sponsored ad, or somebody might have told you about me. So here's what I want you to do now. Don't worry about going to Spotify. Don't worry about going to Apple Music or Tidal or Amazon Music. I want you to go to this really obscure website called Bandcamp that you've probably never heard of because you're not in a band or in the industry. It's like 10 years ago when everybody was sending everybody to Pure Volume or Reverb Nation. Yeah, my music's on Reverb Nation. It's on Spotify too, right? Well, yeah. Well, I'll go check it out on Spotify. Why? Because Reverb Nation's website at the time was garbage, and I have the app for Spotify. So why would I tell artists to do stuff that's going to put them in debt, and that's also going to just really annoy and bother their potential fans? But anyways, let's continue with the email. The email says, it just feels like you've bought into the same system that's been exploiting musicians for decades. You say you want to help artists win, but how can we win in a game that's rigged? Well, it's not that the game is rigged. It's just that Spotify doesn't pay enough. And does Spotify pay enough? No, they do not. But I don't think Instagram pays enough to Artists for Reals. I don't think YouTube pays enough. I don't think TikTok pays enough. Apple Music is probably the best, but that's still not enough for you guys. A penny per play is still not enough. And I've asked artists before, like, how much should Spotify pay you per play? And nobody can really give me an answer. They usually just like, well, you know, an equal amount, a fair amount. I'm like, yes, but what does that mean to you? Because your cost of living, where you live in the world, your cost of living is different from the other artists. So if it's more expensive to live in Los Angeles than it is to, say, Mississippi, do Los Angeles artists get paid more than Mississippi artists because of the cost of living? Is it, well, we went into a studio and recorded, you did yours at home, so we should make more per stream? How do you rate this? Is it, well, we got this is only one person in this group, it's a singer or a rapper, and this is a 6-piece band, so they should get paid more? How do you come up with what is a fair price? And nobody can really usually tell me. They're like, well, a penny per play. I go, well, Apple pays a penny per play. Why aren't you doing backflips about that? It's, look, you can make money with streaming. I have done it with the Matrix Minute. And if I can do it talking about the music industry, you can do it with your music. But streaming should be used as a tool and a vessel for promotion and marketing, for merchandise, for shows. You shouldn't be sitting here trying to make, a living off of your 100 monthly listeners. But it should be about something bigger. Now, as you grow as an artist, you have merchandise, you have shows, you got publishing coming in, then you add streaming to that. But typically the artists who are always complaining about how much or how little Spotify plays are either the billionaires or the artists with like less than 100 monthly listeners. So I don't think the game is rigged. I just think that artists aren't using this properly so they can win. Let's continue with the email. Email says, shouldn't someone with your experience be using their platform to push for something better instead of teaching us how to play along? Better, like Bandcamp, like vinyls, like CDs. I did give you something better. Send here. I want the person who wrote this email. Send every one of your fans to iTunes and Amazon to buy your singles or buy your album. Tell me how many of them actually do it. The number is going to be pretty low. So what I am teaching you how to do is embrace the algorithm, be smart about the music industry, use streaming services, use YouTube, use TikTok, use Instagram. It's not an end all to be all, but as a marketing place to leapfrog onto something else. We see it all the time with influencers. Why do I tell you if you want to submit a question, I don't need you to sign up for Patreon or whatever? Because these guys aren't using this platform. They're not using these other platforms as it's not one lane. There's multiple different lanes. And what you should be doing as an artist is, one, you should be making money from shows. It doesn't matter if it's $100. You should be getting publishing, because did you know that you get paid mechanicals from your ASCAP BMI CSAC when your song's played on Spotify or Apple Music, if it's registered? You need to be selling merchandise, You don't even have to buy in merchandise. You could do like a print on demand thing, so you don't have to keep any inventory. Then you're getting streaming services. If your song is good enough and you've done enough homework and network building in the industry and you got the money, you can get a radio promoter. Try to get your song on radio. It's not going to go number one on Clear Channel or iHeartMedia. But what it will do is you probably get played in some markets and you'll get some extra money that way. You have different revenue streams coming in. But what you want me to do here is tell you Bandcamp's great. It's a broken down website that is exclusive for artists. It's the new Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation was nothing but artists just sitting there just gassing up the other artists. That's all Bandcamp is now. And now I'm going to get somebody who's going to send me a message or leave a comment that's like, no, my girlfriend, she gets all her music from there. Well, that's great. That's your girlfriend. I'm happy for you. But the general public is not going to Bandcamp to listen to your music. The general public is not going to buy a vinyl of an artist they don't know or a CD. And they're going to buy the CD and go, now what do I do with this? If you go to places like New York City, they're handing the CDs out to you as a promo. And I'm still like, guys, give me a QR code. I can't do anything with the CD. I wouldn't play it in my daughter's CD player anyways, because probably hack it or something like that. And the email continues. Maybe I'm wrong. You are. But I'd love to hear your real thoughts. Signed, Bob. Well, that is my real thoughts. I'm not going to direct artists. Honestly, I don't think anybody should be using Bandcamp. Okay? You want to throw it up there and hope that somebody bumps into Bandcamp and you can make 99 cents, and that's great. Bandcamp Fridays. But for you to have that as a marketing or a strategy is to send people to Bandcamp so you can eat, it's not going to happen. It's a waste of your time. It was only up to the last couple of years that I got off of, I don't think artists should put their music on SoundCloud. Because all these artists were throwing their music up on SoundCloud, directing people to SoundCloud instead of their Spotify or their Apple Music. And what happened? They weren't getting paid. It didn't matter if it was pennies on the dollar. It's still better than nothing. It's still better than SoundCloud making all the money. But now SoundCloud is a streaming service on top of everything. So good for them. But Bandcamp, no. I will never tell anybody, put your music on Bandcamp. I will never tell an up-and-coming artist or a brand-new artist, get vinyl. Because here's the other thing that you don't realize when you buy vinyl, because I know this from my friends who, some of them are signed to Pirate Press Records, the punk label. You can't store vinyl anywhere. So if you're off the road for months, that vinyl cannot sit in the trailer. Because you'll be selling warped vinyl to people at shows. And that really ticks them off when they just spend $30 on something they can't use. But I do appreciate the email. I would just say, once again, use any streaming service, use any social media platform as a revenue stream, but it's more of a marketing for your greater brand. That's it. And for all you artists out there who are demanding and crying and belly aching that Spotify and Apple Music pay you more money, do you realize that, okay, let's say right now Spotify went up and paid everybody 3 cents a play. Every artist around the world, 3 cents a play. Do you know how much they're going to have to charge a month? Because they're not going to lose money. It's just their business. They're going to. So your Spotify account would be $45 for a premium probably, or more. Well, no one's going to pay that. So what are they going to do? They're going to drop down to free, where you don't make any money from free plays on Spotify. You make like 1/10 of a penny per play. So now we're back to complaining again. Now, listen, Spotify, as of recently, has done some things that I am not okay with as a citizen of America and the world. But them not paying you enough when you don't even know what enough is, it's just white noise, and they don't care. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing you need to realize about Spotify and Apple Music. If you, the artist with less than 100 monthly listeners, pull your music from Spotify, they're not even going to blink because of that. They're not even going to have a thought about you leaving, because it doesn't matter. You as an artist need Spotify more than they need you. And that's just the way it is right now. Now, when you get to Taylor Swift status, you can start the revolution and I will support it. But right now, as an up-and-coming artist or as a smaller artist, you need Spotify to get as many fans as possible. Because there's been a ton of research over the years about how people will check out your link on Spotify or Apple Music because they're already there and they trust it. But if you take that away and try to sell them vinyl or send them to Bandcamp, you're going to lose that potential fan. And I want you to get fans. I want you to reach the nations. So thank you for the email. If you have a question on the music industry that you want me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com, click submit your question. Give me as many details as possible. And until next time, I will talk to you later.